Lots of them are surrendering. Damn it, do they have aircraft? They've got aircraft as well. I can't do anything against that aircraft. And here we go, they're going for another bombardment of us. Wow, there are so many. My guns are reloading. MoisTea Gaming here, thank you for tuning in. Got a new game for you today. This is The Great War, The Western Front. Definitely one of the new RTS games which I'm certainly looking forward to playing. It brings to light the World War in a way that I've never actually seen before done in a game. It includes many features such as the ironic trench warfare in-game, or the throwing the men at the enemy, the artillery, the World War I planes, the introduction of tanks, gas warfare. None of this blitzkrieg that you see in World War II. This is the rough, rugged World War I scenario that you see in all the films. This video will show you how to play the campaign. I'm going to show you some of the features which are included in this, and how you can use them to exploit the enemy. Just some things while we're on here. The user interface. Up here you will see the national willpower. If this ever drops to 0 on your side, you have lost the war. The men will not fight for you anymore, so you've got to make sure that you do not take too many casualties. This is turn-based. In the campaign section itself, each turn is a month. As you can see, currently it's June 1918, which means that the war is probably coming to an end, despite the Germans still occupying parts of France. You've got your money down here. This is your gold reserves, in which you can purchase aircraft, which can be very useful in battle, so it is definitely worth the price. You have national supply purchases, which is ammunition, clothing, artillery shells, which you can use day to day. You need to make sure that you have a constant supply of this, as it can run out very quickly. You can also purchase tanks, the British tanks and the French, and the siege artillery, which is the big boys. Down here in Montreal, currently we have just taken the neighbouring states of Chateau and Shackleton, if that's how you say that, with some help with the Americans, which have decided to come over finally, their troops. So these troops do need to be moved forward. Over there we've got the dreaded Verdun area, which is currently surrounded by German forces. So these troops which are down here, we're going to have to try and spread around and make sure we don't have any weak points in the line. As for offensives, I'm going to be trying to push from this direction to get further into Belgium. Hopefully I will be able to encourage more Belgian conscripts to help us in the fight. Any British troops that are acquired begin in Calais, which you can distribute. The French obviously start in Paris, and the Americans seem to appear in this province here. This province is the main one for the Germans at the moment. If I was to take this, I would win. Some of the features which you will be able to use in the game is spying. So Verdun is currently surrounded by German troops, so I will be expecting an attack from this area. They will have to attack it several times to be able to actually conquer this territory. Conquering territory works by these stars here. If you are under attack, for example, from Metz, then, and if they have a great victory, then one of these stars will be removed. If they are then attacked again, and another great victory is achieved, I will then lose this province. That's how it works. They would have to attack Verdun several times to actually take the province, but they have that many forces dotted around it. I can see that as a potential weak point. The different nations working together as the allies can have problems. The Americans don't particularly get on with the French too much, so ideally I'm going to want to try and keep them on their own separate sections of the front line. I think the British tend to fall out with the French troops as well. Language barriers are obviously a problem. However, I do think that they get on with the Belgians quite well and the Americans. And also there are the Commonwealth troops, such as the Gurkhas. So as I was saying about spies, I want to make sure that they cannot spy on this area. If they get intelligence that they have a superior force around here, then they are more likely to attack. It will cost me 400 quid, but I'm going to get some counterintelligence here. That way, if they decide to send a spy to me, then I will not be too bad. Up here, however, I want to be on the offensive, so I'm going to be doing some intelligence of my own. I'm going to get some army intel, which reveals all the enemy units adjacent to this block. And there we go. As we can see now, they only have infantry units, but they have siege artillery in this section here. Having this intelligence can severely hinder your decisions in the game. If you find that the enemy has a big grouping of an area, then you might think twice about attacking it. Or if you see the enemy probing certain areas of your line, then you can also help to predict an attack from any given direction around there. This section here has been recently captured, so it only has 1 star on it. So I will need to make sure I need to look after them well. Keep them guarded, as they will be easy to be recaptured by the Germans. Moving troops around is fairly easy. You can select the stack itself, and you can see what units are in here, and you can remove them as necessary. Moving units, you can move them anywhere you like, however they will be a bit knackered by the time they get there, so you need to consider that in any defensives that you are expecting to be attacked from. I'm going to try and keep the British up in this section, moving planes around along the front, and the siege artillery as well as tanks. Once you've moved your men around on the battlefield, as you can see, I now have planes, siege artillery, and lots more men directly on the front line. These troops have been reorganized, disappeared again to go on the front line, and now it looks a lot healthier. I've decided I'm going to try and take this area here, and again also attack up here to try and take the Belgian territories. One thing I am concerned about is supply. To make sure you've got enough, you can build supply depots in your areas, which is going to be especially useful in areas in which you plan to attack from. As it works, the more units you have generally in a area, you have more supply, as each unit brings its own supply, and then you can increase it by building a supply depot there as well, which is very important if you want to be continuing the fight and making sure that you get those great victories in. That is how you take territory. There's other ways in which you could do this as well. Having a mechanical garage increases the supply of the tank battalions. Field hospitals are also very good. They are more for keeping your morale alive if you keep taking heavy casualties, which, as you know, World War I, that happened quite a lot. Over here, I'm going to build some more supply depots.
We have new orders,
as I want to try and take this area here. I may even build a further one in this section, as that is going to be a large staging area for me. And a field hospital, as I will be taking casualties. These two sections already have such things, so that is not required. The rest of the line looks quite strong, and I reckon I will be able to hold it. I don't want to spend all the money I've got, as it is slow to come in, and I may need to use more supplies. In fact, I'm going to purchase some supply now. There's a very careful balance that you need to do in terms of supply and gold reserves. You've got to watch it. You've got to be sparing as best as you can with it. So now the troops have moved, I'm going to end the turn so that they have a period of time in which to recover from moving about. The Germans will probably attack, so we'll see what happens, shall we? Okay, we have our first battle. They are attacking from Metz in the area of Bar-the-Dieu. So the computer reckons it will be a major loss, so hopefully we will not lose this. This is the supply which is available to me. My troops, flamethrowers, raiders, normal infantry, and some large cannons. As we didn't do intelligence on this area, we cannot actually see what the enemy is going to be throwing at us. This is the battlefield, or at least the beginnings of. This here is your command trench where your main officers are. You need to keep hold of this at all costs. Having a look around, this is a command area, control point. You have to keep control of these as best you can. We have one here and one here. They are both surrounded a little bit by some barbed wire. If you look on this area, this is no man's land section. Lots of crater holes here. Enemy also has their own doodahs, which we have the opportunity to take, but because we are on the defensive and it's expected to be a major loss, I highly suspect that if we can hold off the Germans, then we're going to leave it at that. Hopefully we're going to force them to ceasefire. So I'm going to build the trenches, just as a very unique feature in this game, which you don't see very often. Anything I build does get stayed in the next battles to come if it is from this direction. And also any large bombs which go off, for example, underlaying mines. If you've ever watched a couple of films, which I'm not going to name right now, you have the mining, which they go under the ground, may place a very large explosive, and you will have a large crater. That is also featured in this game. It scars the environment and it stays there permanently. As I don't want to eat into all the supply that I have, I'm going to only be building the basic firing trench. You'll see what these are in a minute, but you can place them about as such. I think this will be sufficient for command point A. I'm going to use this setup for command point B. Now, it might not look very extensive, however, I'm trying to save as much supply as I possibly can. I will also be using this to just defend the command trench. Now, if men are wanting to get from this area to up here, then they are going to have to do a runner for it. Hopefully the enemy won't have aircraft or too many big guns to stop this from happening. Again, also, if they want to get from the command point to B, to B, they are also going to have to run across no man's land as well. These little things on the map here, these crosses, are areas in which I can bring in reinforcements from, so hopefully we won't be too bad. Other types of trench are the improved firing trench and the advanced firing trench. These all help protect your troops further. We have a blockhouse trench, which is just a big bunker essentially to help you defend from artillery. And you have a comm trench, which is a little runway essentially in which you can run around very quickly to get to other places. Each of these cost supply, which I'm low on, so I do not want to be building anything that I don't necessarily need to be. You can build barbed wire, MG nests, field mortars, you can get the artillery in, observation balloons, which we are going to need one to make sure that we don't get blasted from an unexpected direction. In fact, I'm not going to have an observation balloon. I am going to have some big, heavy field artillery here. These hopefully will cover enough of the area to help me defend it. Each of these trenches will be filled with French infantrymen. Those are the units that I had designated to this area currently. And you can have a total of 30 different command regiments. So each of these regiments has 225 men in it. You can't see them just yet as we are still in the pre-battle stage. I want to save some supply as best as I can, as firing these heavy artillery shells also requires supply, so I will be holding off for any more. So let's go and get stuck in, shall we? Now the trenches are built. You can see the men in there. Oh, nice and snug. They have a decent range. This is where they can fire from. Being in a trench, hopefully
Attendez les ordres.
they will be able to cover each other if the enemy get a little bit too close. Again, same here.
On a de nouveaux ordres.
This is their firing line.
On a de nouveaux ordres.
A nice forest there in which the enemy can hide themselves in. And we also have our big guns dotted around here.
Préparez-vous, soldats.
These will be very important as the enemy approach. Let's just wait for them to come at us. They are on the attack. Hopefully they only have infantry and nothing else. If they have big guns, then they can pummel us to death before we even have a chance to fight back. If I had the ideal amount of supply, I would have had lots of barbed wire and everything to prevent them from coming. The trick is that as there are more battles in this area itself, you will then have a reset amount of supply. Now, all these trenches that you build stay. So next time there's a battle here, these trenches will be here as long as they are not destroyed, which can then be upgraded or expanded upon. So, as I was saying before, anything that is left in the battlefield itself does stay, which is a very nice feature of the game, and I'm really going to enjoy that. Waiting for the Germans feels like it's taking forever. They must be rallying up from somewhere. They have lots of supply to go at. They have 20 minutes to take the town, or at least get a big victory. Oh, first sighting. Looks like they're going to be coming from this direction first. And they have artillery. They're going to be doing a rolling barrage by the looks of things. They use this to help cover their advance. Hopefully I can do enough damage to them. Lots of them are surrendering. Damn it, do they have aircraft? They've got aircraft as well. I can't do anything against that aircraft. And here we go, they're going for another bombardment of us. Wow, there are so many. My guns are reloading. So many. They are well and truly in the trenches now. I need to try and tell some of these to get out of there. Hopefully we can hold before the next wave. I can reinforce this area. But not while the enemy are coming from it. That is quite irritating. I don't really want to be sending my men over the top to capture these forward trenches again until I have got rid of... until the aircraft has run out of fuel, essentially. Need to capture these trenches back.
On a de nouveaux ordres.
They've gone over the top of the trench. They're lost. The airplane has gone. I need to get these back in here. And now I can reinforce this region again. See where they come from this time. No idea what the Frenchmen are saying. If I've got any French viewers, please let me know what they do say. Oh, here we go. So after that, they've decided not to attack again. This is excellent. So we've managed to hold off the German attack. If they'd have captured that area, I fully suspect that they would have carried it on. They must have caved from the sheer amount of casualties that they had. Each one of those units that they brought up had 250 men in it. Let's have a look. Looking at it, in that one battle, we killed 3,885 men. Call it 8,900. We lost 700. Now, as their casualties were so much higher, the general morale is a crushing blow, and we actually got a major victory. So here's the result of that battle. It's going to cost me 500 quid to replenish the men that I've lost in that. However, the national will has changed significantly in my favour. So each turn, you get some cash and some research points. Let's have a look at that, shall we? And we've also had a warning that the spies have infiltrated our lines. That is not good, and it also hurts national will. So this enemy spy has actually disabled the structures that we have in this area here, which is one of the points in which I was planning on attacking the enemy with. So in that case, we may have to hold off, but we shall see. This is the research tree. You have a few different branches. You have intelligence, infantry, airplanes, different trenches, engineering for various things, and logistics. Logistics is more to do with the amount of money that you can get. Intelligence is to do with your spies and how much it costs and such. Infantry, you have various grenade unlocks, gas masks, and surgical tents and things to help them survive. Flight is to do with the planes, obviously, so you can increase maybe the bombs and such. Trench is to do with more defensive works, which include MG nests and different types of trench. Engineering is to do with more tanks and anything really mechanical. Now I'm hoping to have some gas thrown at the enemy, which means I'm going to have to unlock this, but I need to do... yeah, field orders gas shells. That is what I want to implement to the enemy, as this war needs to end, and World War I was not nice. From that battle itself, the enemy attacked from Mert, which means that, as you can see now, there is some fire and more explosions there. These troops are significantly tired, battle fatigue, so the morale goes down. If I was to attack this area now, it would be easier. I'm not going to, because they've got such a large amount of pool of men and supply will be high, so I don't really have a cat and nails chance of winning it. But as the enemy attack you, then you can attack them back and gain the advantage of them being tired. So before I attack this area here, I'm going to do some intelligence and have a gander. So the enemy have lots of things here actually. Tanks, airplanes, siege artillery. It may not be a good idea to attack this place. I'm also going to do a regional intel which will show me the enemy structures. They have a supply depot there. Okay, so that makes it even more difficult. Let's have a look up here as well. Let's have a look at the regional intel. So because we've already done a couple of intel missions, there is a reduced chance of success after you've done 1 or 2. So our spies aborted, so we did not get that reward, which is a shame. Also got an objective here: build a safe house which will aid the spies. Okay, I'll be doing it where the enemy already sent a spy. I will plop a safe house there. Hopefully that will then mean that this will be done and I get that national will back, which I lost for the spies being infiltrated into our territory. In the region that I got attacked from, I'm actually going to build a supply depot there. Hopefully this will mean that I can build better trench work for when the enemy attack next, which I suspect that they may attack again there. I hope you like the look of this game. I'm going to leave this at this stage, and I will continue this in the next video, which should be on your screen somewhere now. Make sure you click on that to follow the progress of this campaign. Thank you very much for watching and tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.